Success didn't come from applause. It didn't come from fitting in. And it definitely didn't come from doing what was popular. It came from a decision that felt uncomfortable. A decision that made people question, doubt, and sometimes walk away. A decision that didn't make sense in the moment, but made all the difference in the long run. C. Most people want success without resistance. They want the reward without the risk, the victory without the sacrifice. But real success doesn't ask for permission. It asks for courage. It asks for discipline. And sometimes it asks you to stand alone while the whole world tells you you're wrong. That unpopular decision, it wasn't glamorous. It wasn't easy, but it was honest. It was rooted in values, not validation. And when you choose what's right over what's easy, something powerful happens. You stop chasing success, and success starts recognizing you. Because in the end, success doesn't follow crowds. It follows conviction. Success often begins with a choice that looks wrong to others because most people judge decisions by immediate comfort, approval, and visible rewards. When a choice doesn't align with what society expects, it creates doubt, criticism, and resistance. People question it not because it lacks value, but because it challenges their own fears and limitations. An unpopular decision disrupts the familiar path, and unfamiliar paths make people uncomfortable. That discomfort is often mistaken for failure, when in reality, it is the first sign that something meaningful is happening. When someone decides to walk away from what is safe, predictable, or socially accepted, they step into uncertainty. From the outside, this looks reckless or foolish. Friends may warn, family may worry, and observers may label the choice as a mistake. But what they often fail to see is the internal clarity behind the decision. Real growth starts internally, long before results show externally. The world only understands outcomes, not convictions. Until success becomes visible, the decision that led to it will almost always be misunderstood. Unpopular choices demand self-trust. They force a person to listen to their inner voice instead of external noise. This is difficult because humans are wired to seek belonging and validation. Going against the crowd can feel like isolation, and isolation feels like danger. That is why many people abandon their true calling and choose the path that earns quick approval. But approval is temporary, while regret can last a lifetime. Those who succeed are often those who choose long-term fulfillment over short-term comfort. Even when no one claps for them at the beginning. History quietly confirms this pattern. Breakthroughs, innovations, and personal transformations almost always start with decisions that were doubted or mocked. The decision to stay disciplined when others relax, to stay honest when shortcuts are available, to stay patient when instant gratification is everywhere. These choices rarely look impressive in the moment. They look boring, slow, and unnecessary, yet they build strength, character, and resilience. They create a foundation strong enough to hold success when it finally arrives. An unpopular decision also acts as a filter. It removes distractions, false supporters, and weak commitments. When a person chooses a difficult path, only what truly matters stays with them. This clarity sharpens focus and deepens purpose. Instead of chasing multiple directions, energy is concentrated on one meaningful pursuit. While others may see loss or sacrifice, what is actually happening is alignment. Alignment between values and actions creates momentum that cannot be manufactured through popularity. The irony is that once success becomes visible, the same decision that was criticized is suddenly praised. People forget their doubts and call it bravery, wisdom, or vision. But the truth remains that success was born in silence, pressure, and resistance. It was shaped during moments when quitting would have earned approval and continuing required faith. The unpopular decision didn't just lead to success, it prepared the individual to handle it. Without that early resistance, success would have arrived too early, too fragile, and too heavy to carry. The courage to stand alone is more valuable than approval, because approval is fragile and constantly changing. While courage builds something permanent inside a person, approval depends on trends, opinions, and moods that shift without warning. One moment you are praised, the next you are questioned. When a person builds their identity around approval, they hand over control of their confidence to the crowd. Standing alone, on the other hand, forces a person to define themselves from the inside. It requires an internal standard that does not rise or fall with applause or criticism. Standing alone is uncomfortable because it exposes uncertainty. When no one is cheering, doubting, or even watching, the only thing left is belief. That belief must be strong enough to carry a person through silence and isolation. Many people fear this stage more than failure itself. Failure still invites attention, sympathy, or advice. But standing alone offers nothing but quiet resistance. It is in that quiet that true strength is formed. Courage grows not when others agree with you, but when you move forward despite their absence. Approval often asks for compromise. It subtly pressures people to soften their values, shorten their vision, or dilute their standards to remain acceptable. Over time, these small compromises add up. What begins as a harmless adjustment turns into a complete departure from purpose. Standing alone protects integrity. It allows a person to make decisions based on principles rather than popularity. Integrity may not attract crowds, but it attracts consistency, and consistency is what produces lasting results. There is also a cost to constant approval. Seeking that is rarely discussed. When a person depends on others to validate their choices, they lose the ability to take bold action. Every decision becomes a negotiation with opinions, fears, and expectations that are not their own. Progress slows, confidence weakens, and potential remains trapped behind hesitation. Courage cuts through that hesitation. It gives permission to move forward without consensus, to act before understanding is complete, and to trust the process even when the outcome is unclear. Standing alone builds resilience in a way approval never can. When support disappears, a person who has relied on approval collapses under pressure. But someone who has learned to stand alone has already faced resistance. They have already made peace with being misunderstood. This makes them steady in moments of chaos and grounded in moments of success. They are not easily shaken by criticism or praise, because neither defines them. Their strength comes from endurance, not agreement. Ironically, standing alone often leads to leadership. People are drawn to those who move with conviction, even when they don't fully understand them. Courage signals clarity, and clarity inspires trust. Over time, what once looked like isolation becomes influence. But that influence is a byproduct, not the goal. The goal was never approval. It was alignment with purpose. Approval follows when courage is consistent, but it never leads. The courage to stand alone is not about rejecting others. It is about refusing to abandon oneself. It is about choosing truth over comfort, growth over belonging, and purpose over praise. Those who master this courage do not become immune to doubt or fear, but they become capable of moving forward with both. And in a world that constantly demands conformity, the ability to stand alone becomes one of the rarest and most powerful advantages. A person can possess comfort and greatness never walk together, because comfort is designed to preserve what already exists, while greatness demands transformation. Comfort keeps life predictable, familiar, and safe. It minimizes risk, avoids discomfort, and protects routine. Greatness, on the other hand, asks for growth, and growth always disrupts what feels safe. The moment a person chooses comfort as a priority, they unconsciously limit how far they are willing to go. Comfort draws a boundary around effort, and greatness requires stepping beyond that boundary again and again. Comfort creates the illusion of progress. When life feels easy, stable, and controlled, it can appear as though things are moving forward. But comfort rarely produces meaningful change. It maintains habits, environments, and mindsets that no longer challenge potential. Greatness is built in moments of resistance, pressure, and strain. It is developed through effort that stretches ability and reveals weakness. Without discomfort, there is no reason to adapt, improve, or push limits. Comfort offers satisfaction without growth, and that satisfaction slowly replaces ambition. One of the most dangerous aspects of comfort is how quietly it settles in. It does not announce itself as an enemy. It arrives as convenience, security, and balance. It encourages waiting instead of acting, choosing ease instead of effort, and settling instead of striving. Over time, this quiet settling dulls urgency. Dreams become delayed plans, and plans become distant memories. Greatness requires urgency because time does not reward hesitation. Comfort teaches patience without action, while greatness demands persistence with purpose. Comfort also weakens resilience. When a person becomes accustomed to ease, even small challenges feel overwhelming. Resistance begins to feel unfair rather than necessary. Greatness is forged by repeatedly facing difficulty and learning how to endure it. Every struggle strengthens discipline, focus, and mental toughness. Comfort removes these opportunities. It shields a person from failure, but it also shields them from mastery. Mastery only comes from repeated effort under pressure, and pressure cannot exist where comfort dominates. There is also a cost to comfort that often goes unnoticed until it is too late. Comfort slowly erodes self-respect. Deep down, people know when they are capable of more, but choosing less. This inner awareness creates quiet dissatisfaction. Life may appear successful on the surface, but something feels unfinished. Greatness is not just about achievement, it is about fulfillment. Fulfillment comes from knowing effort matched potential. Comfort prevents that alignment, leaving behind regret instead of pride. Greatness demands sacrifice because it requires choosing what is necessary over what is pleasant. It asks for early mornings when sleep is tempting, discipline when motivation fades, and focus when distractions are everywhere. These choices are uncomfortable by nature. They require energy, commitment, and consistency. Comfort resists all three. It encourages delay, excuses, and shortcuts. But shortcuts never lead to greatness. They lead to temporary results that collapse under pressure. Ironically, the discomfort required for greatness does not last forever. What begins as struggle eventually becomes strength. Effort becomes skill. Discipline becomes habit, and challenge becomes confidence. Comfort offers immediate ease, but long-term stagnation. Greatness demands short-term discomfort, but delivers lasting impact. Those who choose greatness accept discomfort as part of the process, not as a sign to quit. They understand that every level of success requires leaving a previous level of comfort behind, and they are willing to keep walking forward, even when ease tries to pull them back. Discipline and conviction outweigh talent and luck, because talent without direction is unreliable, and luck without preparation is temporary. Talent can open doors, but it cannot keep them open without consistent effort. Many people begin with natural ability, but only a few sustain progress because they lack the discipline required to show up daily. Discipline transforms potential into performance. It turns intention into action and action into habit. Without it, even the most gifted individuals plateau, distracted by comfort or discouraged by resistance. Conviction gives discipline its purpose. Discipline alone can feel exhausting if it lacks meaning. Conviction answers the question of why effort matters when results are slow or invisible. It anchors behavior to belief. When conviction is strong, discipline becomes non-negotiable. A person no longer depends on motivation or mood. They act because they are committed to something larger than convenience. Talent may impress in moments, but conviction carries a person through seasons of uncertainty and struggle. Luck is often mistaken for success, but luck is unpredictable and uncontrollable. It cannot be planned, repeated, or relied upon. Those who depend on luck wait for circumstances to favor them. Those who rely on discipline create consistency regardless of circumstances. Discipline ensures progress even when conditions are unfavorable. Conviction ensures persistence when outcomes are unclear. Together, they form a system that does not collapse when luck disappears or talent is challenged. There are countless examples of talented individuals who failed to reach their potential because they lacked discipline. Skill alone cannot withstand pressure, criticism, or fatigue. When obstacles appear, talent looks for escape, while discipline looks for solutions. Conviction keeps a person aligned when shortcuts seem tempting. It prevents compromise when standards are tested. Talent may draw attention, but discipline earns respect, and conviction builds trust. Discipline also creates self-respect. Each disciplined action reinforces identity. A person begins to see themselves as reliable, capable, and strong. This self-image fuels further commitment. Conviction deepens this identity by connecting actions to values. When behavior reflects belief, confidence becomes grounded rather than fragile. This kind of confidence does not depend on praise or outcomes. It remains steady through failure and success alike. Luck fades quickly because it does not build foundation. When success arrives through luck alone, there is no structure to support it. Pressure exposes weakness, and inconsistency leads to collapse. Discipline builds structure. Conviction builds direction. Together, they prepare a person to handle responsibility, criticism, and growth. They make success sustainable rather than accidental. Talent is often visible early, but discipline reveals itself over time. Conviction reveals itself under pressure. When progress slows and rewards disappear, only those with discipline continue showing up. Only those with conviction remain aligned. These qualities are not inherited, they are developed through daily choices. They require patience, humility, and accountability. But they also produce independence. A disciplined and convicted person does not wait to be pushed or encouraged. They move forward on their own. In the end, discipline and conviction create momentum that talent and luck cannot replicate. They allow a person to build success intentionally rather than accidentally. While talent may start the journey and luck may provide moments of opportunity, it is discipline that maintains progress and conviction that protects purpose, ensuring that success is earned, sustained, and deserved. The unpopular decision shapes character before results appear, because results are external, but character is internal, and internal change always comes first. When someone chooses a path that is difficult, uncertain, or misunderstood, there is no immediate reward to lean on, no applause, no validation, no visible proof that the choice was right. What exists instead is pressure. Pressure reveals who a person truly is. It exposes patience, honesty, discipline, and resilience long before success shows up. In that space, character is either strengthened or compromised. When results are absent, excuses lose their power. A person can no longer rely on outcomes to justify effort. They must rely on values. This is where character is formed. Choosing to continue when quitting would be easier builds integrity. Showing up when no one is watching builds accountability. Staying consistent without recognition builds humility. These traits do not develop when things are easy or rewarding. They develop when effort feels lonely and progress feels slow. An unpopular decision also tests commitment. It forces a person to confront why they started in the first place. Without visible progress, weak intentions fade quickly. Strong intentions deepen. This separation is critical because character cannot be borrowed or faked. It is earned through repeated choices that align with principles rather than convenience. Each time a person chooses discipline over comfort, honesty over shortcuts, and patience over impulse, character gains weight and strength. Character formed early becomes protection later. When success finally arrives, it brings pressure, attention, and temptation. Without strong character, success becomes dangerous. It amplifies ego, weakens discipline, and exposes insecurity. Many people fail not because they never succeed, but because they succeed before their character is ready. The unpopular decision delays gratification, but accelerates maturity. It prepares a person to handle responsibility without losing direction. The absence of results also teaches emotional control. Doubt, fear, and frustration surface quickly when progress is invisible. Learning to manage these emotions without external reassurance builds inner stability. This stability becomes confidence that does not depend on circumstances. It allows a person to remain steady during uncertainty and composed during adversity. Results can fluctuate, but character remains constant once it is established. Unpopular decisions also remove illusions. They strip away false motivations and superficial goals. When recognition disappears, only purpose remains. This clarity sharpens judgment and strengthens resolve. Instead of chasing outcomes, a person begins to focus on process. Process builds skill. Skill builds confidence. Confidence rooted in effort is far more durable than confidence rooted in praise. Over time, character becomes visible through behavior. People begin to notice consistency, reliability, and quiet strength. Trust is built not through words, but through patterns. These patterns were formed long before success appeared. The unpopular decision created habits that could survive difficulty. Those habits eventually create results. But by the time results arrive, they are no longer the main goal. Character is what allows success to last. It keeps a person grounded when praise increases and disciplined when pressure rises. It prevents compromise when shortcuts reappear. The unpopular decision was never just about reaching a destination. It was about becoming someone capable of sustaining it. Results are temporary. Character is permanent. And when character is formed first, success becomes a consequence rather than a burden, shaped by patience, discipline, and integrity that were built long before anyone noticed